Welcome to your deep dive. Looks like you're ready to explore the power of belief with Claude Bristol's The Magic of Believing.
Absolutely. I'm ready to unpack this one, especially with your take on it.
This book is jam-packed with some pretty wild stories and claims.
It really is something else.
Everything from manifesting wealth with just your thoughts to, curing illnesses with willpower alone.
It's incredible, right?
So are you ready to dive in?
Let's do it.
Okay, so for those who haven't cracked open The Magic of Believing yet, what's the deal with Claude Bristol? Who is this guy?
Well, what always gets me about the magic of believing is how Bristol kicks off his whole journey.
Yeah, he doesn't exactly start out as a believer in this stuff, does he?
Not at all. He's a total skeptic,
Yeah.
a police reporter, someone who trusts facts and evidence.
Right. Imagine covering hard-hitting news one day and then exploring the power of the mind the next.
It's a wild turn.
Yeah.
And he's upfront about that whole journey.
Yeah, he even talks about his time as a church editor, right?
Yeah.
Working with folks like Billy Sunday.
Exactly. He's rubbing shoulders with these charismatic figures, seeing their fervor of religious experience firsthand.
You'd think that might sway him towards belief.
You'd think so, but he still holds on to that reporter's skepticism.
It's like he's trying to reconcile these two sides of himself, the believer and the skeptic.
Totally. And he talks about witnessing things that even he couldn't explain away.
Like what? Give us an example.
Well, he talks about these courtroom scenes, mediums who couldn't conjure up spirits on demand, even with all that pressure.
It's like those caught-on-camera ghost hunting shows.
Right. But then he travels to Hawaii, encounters those kahunas who believe they can influence life and death with their prayers.
Okay, that's a whole other level.
It is. And it's like this trip, this exposure to a completely different way of seeing the world, it shifts something in him.
It's like he was collecting these experiences, these puzzle pieces, until something clicked.
And then, boom, World War I hits, and he's thrust into the trenches in France.
Talk about a reality check.
Right. And it's there, amidst the chaos and uncertainty, that he starts doodling dollar signs, visualizing a future where he's wealthy.
Pretty normal thing to fantasize about when you're staring down the barrel of war, I'd say.
Absolutely. But here's where it gets really interesting. Years later, he ends up in investment banking, amassing a fortune.
No way. So, coincidence. Or something more.
Bristol suggests it's an example of planting the seed of belief, even if it begins with something as simple as doodling dollar signs.
Okay, but how does he go from doodling dollar signs to outlining a whole philosophy around belief?
That's the million-dollar question. He calls it the science of belief, and that's where things get really interesting.
Science of belief. Okay, break that down for us.
So he's talking about thoughts as vibrations, frequencies that radiate out from us and can actually impact the world.
Hold on. This is the early 20th century, right?
Exactly. A time when radio waves and the subconscious mind were blowing everyone's minds.
So he's taking these groundbreaking scientific concepts and applying them to the power of thought.
Exactly. He's suggesting our minds aren't isolated. They're like transmitters and receivers of energy, influencing not just ourselves, but the world around us.
That's a pretty radical idea for its time.
Totally. And that's where mind stuff comes in.
Mind stuff. Okay, I think we need a definition here. What exactly is mind stuff, according to Bristol?
Basically, it's his term for this powerful mental energy he believes we all have. Our thoughts, beliefs, even our subconscious desires are all part of this mind stuff.
So it's not just about positive thinking. It's about this deeper power of belief that can shape our reality.
You got it. And he doesn't just stop there.
Of course not. He's just getting started.
Exactly. He tries to ground this in everyday life. He talks about doctors witnessing the power of suggestion to cure warts.
Wait, really? Curing warts with your mind?
That's what he claims. And he argues that by harnessing this power of belief, people can achieve success in business, overcome what he calls mental hazards.
Mental hazards. I've never heard that term before. What are those?
Yeah. He's talking about those self-sabotaging thoughts, doubts, fears, things that stop us from reaching our full potential.
Ah, I see those inner critics we all have.
Exactly. And he suggests that by swapping those negative thoughts with positive affirmations and belief in ourselves, we can overcome those mental hazards.
So it's about consciously changing our thought patterns.
Precisely. He even brings up historical figures like Hitler and Stalin.
Whoa, okay. Going there.
He's suggesting they understood the power of suggestion, but used it for, well, evil.
That's a bit unsettling, right? The idea that this power could be used for manipulation.
It definitely adds another layer to the conversation, doesn't it?
It really does. And, we've just scratched the surface here. This mind stuff, this potential, it's a lot to wrap our heads around.
It really is. And Bristol dives even deeper, exploring techniques, examples, a whole roadmap for understanding and harnessing this power within us.
Okay, before we get into all that, let's take a moment to process.
Okay, bro.
Because this idea that our thoughts, our beliefs, could be this untapped source of power, it's a lot to take in.
It really is. It's mind-blowing when you really think about it.
It really is.
This idea that what we believe, what we think deep down, could actually shape what we experience.
It's like we have these incredible abilities just waiting to be unlocked. And the best part is Bristol doesn't just leave us hanging with these big, exciting ideas.
Oh, absolutely not.
He gives us actual tools, techniques to tap into this mind stuff.
He wants us to put this magic into practice.
Exactly. And one of the most fascinating techniques, at least for me, is this mirror technique.
Yeah, it sounds almost deceptively simple.
It does.
Yeah.
But it's based on this powerful idea of like self-suggestion.
Exactly. It's about taking control of your own narrative.
Okay, so for our listeners who are hearing about this for the first time, break it down.
Okay, so picture this. You're standing in front of the mirror,
Okay, got it.
looking right at yourself, but instead of just, checking your reflection,
Yeah, instead of that quick glance we usually do.
right, you start saying these affirmations out loud.
Wait, like talking to myself in the mirror?
Exactly.
That feels a little strange, doesn't it?
It might feel a bit weird at first, but stick with me.
Okay, I'm listener.
You're looking right at yourself and declaring, I am confident, I am successful, whatever quality you want to embody.
Whoa, it's like giving yourself a pep talk in the mirror.
It is.
Yeah.
And Bristol believed there's real power in that.
Interesting.
He thought that by seeing ourselves, hearing ourselves, embody these qualities, we're sending this direct message to our subconscious.
It's like bypassing all those conscious doubts and fears.
Exactly. And he even connects this technique to historical figures like, Billy Sunday,
Oh, wow, really?
the evangelist, and Winston Churchill.
Okay, two very different figures, but both known for their, commanding presence.
Exactly. And they both reportedly use similar techniques to boost their own confidence.
Huh. It makes you think, right? Could something as simple as talking to yourself in the mirror actually contribute to that level of success?
It's a fascinating thought experiment, isn't it?
It really is. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy, almost.
Right. If you see yourself as confident, if you act like you are...
You're more likely to actually become confident.
Exactly.
Okay, so it's not just about thinking it, it's about embodying it, living it.
Yes. And that's the beauty of this mirror technique. It's an active practice.
I like that it's about taking control, not just wishing for things to be different.
Exactly. It goes back to that idea that we are not just passive bystanders in our own lives.
We're active creators. Okay, so we talked about visualization, affirmations, this mirror technique.
Right, and it's all interconnected.
But there's another element that Bristol brings in that I find super intriguing: intuition.
Ah, yes. Those gut feelings, those hunches.
Sometimes they come out of nowhere.
They do. But Bristol saw them as messages from our subconscious.
Like it's trying to tell us something, guide us in the right direction.
Exactly. Even if we don't consciously get it.
It's like those times when you just have this feeling you should do something.
Yep.
Or you meet someone and you just know, this is going to be important.
It's like a sixth sense, almost.
Right. And then later on, it turns out you were right to trust that gut feeling.
Bristol would say that's not just luck, that's your subconscious mind at work.
Wow, I never thought of it like that. Okay, but how do we know when to trust those hunches?
That's the tricky part, isn't it?
It is. Because sometimes our intuition is spot on, and sometimes...
It leads us down the wrong path.
Exactly.
It's a delicate balance.
Yeah.
But Bristol believed that by paying more attention to those intuitive nudges,
Yeah.
by learning to decipher those whispers from our subconscious.
We can make more informed decisions.
Precisely.
That's so interesting. And there's one section in The Magic of Believing that really jumped out at me.
Oh, yeah. Which one?
The chapter he dedicates to the dynamic power in women.
It's a fascinating chapter,
Yeah.
especially considering when it was written.
Right. It feels really relevant even today.
It does. He clearly believes in the power of women, in their untapped potential.
Especially during a time when, let's be honest, women weren't exactly encouraged to embrace their power.
Right. They face so many limitations and expectations.
And Bristol, he's like, no, women have this incredible power within them.
He did, and he backs it up with these amazing stories of women who defied expectations.
Right. Like Opal Whiteley, that young woman who was convinced she was of royal lineage.
And you know what? Even though there were questions about her background,
People believed her. She was embraced by European royalty.
it's incredible, right? Almost like her belief in herself manifested that reality.
It's amazing. And then there's Marie Dressler, the actress.
Oh, I love her story.
She faced so many rejections, setbacks,
But she never gave up on her dream.
And ultimately found success in Hollywood.
It's a testament to the power of resilience,
Yeah.
of believing in yourself even when the odds are stacked against you.
Absolutely. And we can't forget Sister Kenny, the Australian nurse who revolutionized polio treatment.
She faced so much resistance from the medical establishment at the time.
But she was unwavering in her belief that she could make a difference.
And she did. Her methods ended up changing how polio was treated.
These stories, they're incredibly inspiring.
They really are.
They show what's possible when women tap into their power, their belief in themselves.
Exactly. And there's another story that comes to mind. Madame Schumann Heink, the opera singer,
Oh, right. I remember reading about her.
told she'd never sing again after losing her voice. She refused to accept that fate.
Through sheer willpower, belief, she got back on that stage.
What a story.
It's like Bristol is saying, women have this incredible strength, this ability to overcome adversity and achieve amazing things.
And he might be onto something, right?
Right. I mean, regardless of whether you agree with all of his views,
Of course, we have to remember the context of his time.
the stories he shares, they're undeniably powerful.
They really are. They make you think about the potential we all have within us.
We've covered a lot of ground. Bristol's own skepticism, the science of belief, visualization, intuition, the power of women.
It's a lot to process.
It really is. But I think the main takeaway is this. Bristol is urging us to question everything,
To look beyond the surface.
to consider the possibility that our minds are far more powerful than we realize.
That's the heart of it, isn't it? He's asking us to open ourselves up to a world where our thoughts, our beliefs, can heal us,
Influence others.
shape our realities in ways we never thought possible.
And that's an exciting thought, even if some of his claims might seem out there.
He was a bold thinker, that's for sure.
Okay, so we've been on this deep dive into the magic of believing. But is there, actual scientific evidence to back up any of these bold claims?
That's always the big question, isn't it?
It is.
And, Bristol being a former skeptic himself, he knew people would ask that.
Right, he doesn't shy away from it.
Not at all.
Yeah.
He actually talks about the research being done at Duke University by this guy, Dr. J.B. Rhine.
Oh, yeah, J.B. Rhine, he was studying ESP, right?
Yeah. Exactly. Extrasensory perception.
Okay, for those who aren't familiar with ESP, what are we talking about here?
So Rhine was doing all these experiments on things like telepathy and clairvoyance.
Like reading minds, seeing the future, that kind of thing.
Exactly. He used those Zener cards, the ones with the symbols on them,
Oh, right, I've seen those.
trying to prove that these phenomena were real, that our minds could do these incredible things.
And did he prove it?
Well, that's the thing. His findings were definitely controversial.
I bet.
Still debated today, actually.
Makes sense. It's not exactly easy to measure ESP in a lab setting.
Right. But Bristol uses Ryan's work, even with the controversy,
Yeah.
to support his idea that our minds can influence things beyond just our immediate physical space.
It's like he's saying there's more to our minds than we currently understand.
Exactly.
Which, after hearing about all these anecdotes, those weird coincidences, it does make you wonder.
It really does.
But I have to ask, are we saying we can control the entire universe with our thoughts?
That's where things get a bit tricky. Even Bristol wouldn't go that far.
Right, because that's starting to sound a little too much like,
Like we just wish for something and poof, it happens.
Exactly. And that's not really what he's advocating for, is it?
Not quite. He's very clear that belief is not just passive wishing. It's a starting point.
Okay, I like that, a starting point.
It's a catalyst for action.
So it's about combining belief with action.
Exactly.
Believing in yourself enough to take the steps, to put in the work,
Exactly.
to chase those opportunities, even when things get tough.
Because they will get tough, but it's that belief that helps us push through.
Okay, that makes sense. It's not about sitting back and waiting for things to happen magically.
Right.
It's about recognizing that we have the power to create our own reality, but we have to actively participate in that process.
Exactly. We're not just leaves blowing in the wind.
We're active participants. Okay, I really like that analogy.
It's about taking the wheel, so to speak.
And steering our own course, even if we can't control the wind, we can adjust our sails.
Precisely. And I think that's where the true essence of Bristol's message lies,
I agree. It's about recognizing that potential within ourselves, believing in our capacity to achieve what we set out to do.
And then taking those tangible steps to make it happen.
And not being afraid to fail along the way.
Absolutely. Because failures are just opportunities to learn and grow.
Wow, that was quite the deep dive. Bristol's the magic of believing. It really throws a lot at us.
It really does.
It makes you think, are there these hidden forces within us just waiting to be unleashed?
It's an exciting thought, isn't it?
It really is. Or is it just the power of positive thinking amplified by, our own actions?
Maybe it's a combination of both.
Maybe. But whatever the answer, and I think this is a good takeaway for our listeners,
What's that?
the act of believing itself
Yeah,
can be a powerful force for change.
absolutely. Even if we can't fully explain it.
Exactly. Whether it's finding the courage to ask for that raise or finally making that life-changing decision.
Those things that we've been putting off because we're afraid.
Yeah, that fear can be paralyzing.
It can, but belief, that's the antidote.
I love that. Expert speaker, after this deep dive, what's sticking with you? What's resonating?
What resonates most with me is that simple but powerful reminder. Our beliefs, they really do shape our reality.
You do, don't they?
If we believe something is impossible.
It often becomes impossible.
Exactly. But when we embrace the magic of believing in ourselves, in what's possible,
Yeah.
we open up a whole world of possibilities.
That's a beautiful thought to end on, that we have more control than we think.
We really do.
And that's your deep dive into The Magic of Believing by Claude Bristol. Remember, it's not about blindly believing everything you read, but it's about critically examining these ideas, maybe doing some of your own exploring.
Right, see what resonates with you.
And most importantly, figure out how you can use these ideas to create positive change in your own life.
It's about empowerment.
Exactly. Until next time, keep those minds open, keep exploring, and keep believing in the extraordinary power within you.
It's there waiting to be unleashed.
Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment. It would be a great source of help to maintain and develop this channel and the correlated website. This book overview was presented to you by olbooksummary.com. Are you interested in more insights into personal development books or motivational and inspirational books? Please visit olbooksummary.com and you will find a library of the most helpful self-development and human character development books overviews. See you soon with the next books overview video.